All right, so are you ready to dive into this whole lifelong learning thing? It seems like it's everywhere these days, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic, and for good reason, I think.
Okay, so beyond the buzzword, what are we actually talking about here?
Well, we've got this fascinating document that really digs into it, and it makes a pretty compelling case that lifelong learning is essential for navigating the modern world, especially with all the rapid changes happening.
Is it like more than just taking a couple of online courses?
Oh, way more. It's more of a mindset shift, like embracing this idea that learning is an ongoing process, not something that stops when you graduate.
Okay, so it's not just about adding a few more bullet points to your resume.
Right. It's about constantly evolving, adapting, and staying ahead of the curve. Think about how the job market's always shifting, and the skills that were in demand 5 years ago might be obsolete today.
Yeah, that's a good point. So lifelong learning is like a way to future-proof yourself.
Exactly. The document actually ties it to this idea of human capital.
Human capital.
Yeah, it's basically like thinking of your skills and knowledge as an investment. Like you invest in the stock market to grow your wealth. Well, investing in yourself through learning can increase your earning potential over time.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's not just some fluffy self-help concept. It's got actual economic theory behind it.
Yeah, and it goes even deeper than that. The document connects it to this thing they call the ultra-rich mindset.
Ooh, ultra-rich mindset. That sounds intriguing. I'm all ears.
Well, think about it. You know how super successful people are always reading, learning new things, expanding their horizons?
Yeah, like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they're always talking about the books they're reading.
Right, and it's not just about the money. It's about this inherent drive to constantly learn and grow. The document argues that this is a key factor in their success.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about cultivating a certain way of thinking.
Exactly. Like always being curious, challenging your assumptions, and being open to new perspectives.
So it's almost like rewiring your brain to be a learning machine.
Yeah, kind of. It's like instead of seeing the world as this fixed thing, you see it as this giant classroom with endless opportunities to learn and grow.
Okay, I like that. But honestly, I'm already feeling overwhelmed with information overload most days. How are we supposed to keep up with everything we're supposed to be learning?
That's a Dever point, and it's something we'll definitely explore more in the next part of this deep dive. But for now, I think the key takeaway is that lifelong learning isn't about cramming your brain with facts. It's about developing a set of skills and habits that make you a more effective learner overall.
Okay, so it's like learning how to learn.
Exactly. It's about becoming more adaptable, resilient, and able to navigate this constant flow of information that we're all bombarded with.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm ready to unpack these skills and habits you're talking about. Let's dive deeper in the next part.
Sounds good?
Welcome back. So last time we were talking about how lifelong learning is like this key to navigating a world that's changing faster than ever, right? But how do we actually make it happen? Like life is already so busy. How do we find the time and energy to actually learn new things?
You're hitting on a major point. This document actually addresses that head on. It acknowledges that time is a major constraint for most people.
Yeah, tell me about it. So does it offer any like magic solutions for finding more hours in the day?
Well, not magic exactly, but it does delve into this really fascinating concept called andragogy.
Andragogy. Okay, that sounds intimidating. What is that exactly?
It's basically the study of how adults learn best. And it recognizes that, adults learn differently than children.
Okay, so it's not about just, memorizing facts and taking tests.
Right. Adults have different motivations, different experiences, and different learning styles.
So what are some of the key principles of this andragogy thing?
Well, one of the big ones is relevance. Like adults need to see how what they're learning is actually applicable to their lives and their goals.
So it's not just about accumulating knowledge for the sake of knowledge.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots between what you're learning and how you can actually use it.
That makes a lot of sense. What else?
Another key principle is experience. Andragogy recognizes that adults come to the table with a wealth of knowledge and experience from their lives.
So it's not about treating us like empty vessels, like we're not starting from scratch every time we learn something new.
Right. It's about building upon what you already know and using your experiences to make connections and deepen your understanding.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this andragogy thing could be really helpful. It feels more, I don't know, more respectful of where we are in life.
Definitely. And it also emphasizes this this need for autonomy and self-direction. Adults want to have a say in what they learn, how they learn it, and how they apply it.
So it's not about just passively absorbing information.
Right. It's about active learning, engagement, and taking ownership of the process.
I like that a lot. So we've got relevance, experience, and autonomy. Are there any other key principles of andragogy that we should know about?
Well, there's one more that's pretty cool, and it's actually tied to something we talked about earlier, this idea of rewiring your brain for learning.
Oh, you mean neuroplasticity.
Exactly.
Okay, remind me, what is neuroplasticity again?
It's basically this amazing ability of the brain to change and adapt throughout life.
So, like, our brains aren't fixed after a certain age. We can actually continue to learn and grow new neural connections.
Yes, that's exactly it. For a long time, people thought that once you hit a certain age, your brain was pretty much set in its ways. But now we know that that's not true at all.
So, other time we learn something new, we're literally changing the physical structure of our brains.
Pretty much. It's like, imagine your brain is like a giant forest, right? And learning creates new paths through that forest.
Okay, that's a pretty cool image. So, it's not just a metaphor, it's actually happening at a neurological level.
Exactly. And this is what makes lifelong learning so powerful. It's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about keeping your brain active, healthy, and adaptable.
So, it's like a workout for your brain.
Yeah. And the more you work it out, the stronger and more flexible it becomes.
Okay, I'm totally on board with the brain workout idea. But even with all these cool concepts like netragogy and neuroplasticity, I think there's still that big elephant in the room, right? The time thing. Like, how do we actually make time for learning when we're already juggling a million things?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And I'm hoping you have some answers.
Well, I do have some insights from this document that might be helpful, and that's exactly what we'll be diving into in the next part of our deep dive. We're going to tackle those real-life challenges head-on, the time constraints, the motivation struggles, all of it. And we'll explore some strategies for making lifelong learning a reality, even when you feel like you don't have a spare minute to yourself.
Okay, I am so ready for those strategies. Bring them on. I'll see you in part 3. Okay, so we've talked about what lifelong learning is and why it's so important, but now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do we actually make it happen?
Yeah, the rubber meets the road, right?
Exactly. Like, we're all busy adults, juggling jobs, families, and, well, life in general. So how do we actually find the time and energy to make learning a priority?
Well, this document doesn't shy away from that challenge. It acknowledges that time is a major constraint for most of us. But it also suggests that maybe we're thinking about it the wrong way.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean?
Well, instead of trying to find big chunks of time, which, let's be honest, can be almost impossible, it suggests focusing on making small, consistent changes.
So it's not about some massive life overhaul.
Right. It's more about those little tweaks, those little habits we can incorporate into our daily routines.
Okay, that sounds a lot more manageable. So where do we start?
Well, step one is to get really clear on your goals. Like, what do you actually want to learn and why?
So it's not just about randomly taking courses or reading books that sound interesting.
It can be, but if you want to make real progress, it's helpful to have a specific goal in mind.
Okay, so have a goal. Got it. What's next?
The next tip is, and this might seem obvious, but it's super important, is to actually schedule dedicated learning time, even if it's just 15 minutes a day.
Block it out in the calendar like a meeting.
Exactly. Make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself.
I like that. It's like giving learning the respect it deserves, not just treating it like an afterthought.
And here's another trick. Look for those little pockets of time throughout your day where you can sneak in some learning.
Sneaky learning, huh?
Yeah, like can you listen to a podcast on your commute or read an article while you're waiting in line?
Ooh, yeah, I can definitely see myself doing that.
And don't underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts.
So it's like the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. Now, another big challenge people face is staying motivated.
Oh, tell me about it. I've started so many online courses with the best of intentions, and then pft.life happens.
Well, the document suggests that finding an accountability partner can be really helpful. Someone you can check in with, share resources with, and celebrate wins with.
Ooh, like a learning buddy.
Exactly. Even if you don't have a formal learning buddy, just telling someone about your goals can make you more likely to stick with them.
So find a buddy, share your goals, stay motivated. Okay, what else?
This one might seem small, but it can make a big difference. Create a learning environment that supports your focus.
Oh, like a dedicated space.
It could be a dedicated space, or it could just be about, minimizing distractions, turning off your phone, closing your email, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I definitely need peace and quiet when I'm trying to focus on learning something new. It's like trying to meditate in a hurricane otherwise.
Exactly. So create that learning sanctuary, whether it's physical or mental, and make it a space where your brain can really engage with the material.
Okay, I'm loving all these practical tips, but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to this whole ultra-rich mindset thing. It seems like it's about so much more than just, learning a new skill or acquiring knowledge.
Absolutely. The document argues that it's a way of approaching the world, a way of thinking.
So it's like a growth mindset, but maybe on a grander scale.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about embracing challenges, being curious, and always striving to improve. And it's about recognizing that learning isn't just a means to an end, it's a lifelong journey.
I really love that idea. So it's not just about, trying to become a billionaire or whatever. It's about adopting this mindset of continuous growth and learning.
And that's something anyone can do, regardless of their income level or background. It's about recognizing that your potential is limitless and that the journey of learning is what makes life truly exciting.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, and I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to embrace the power of lifelong learning.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
And remember, it's a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your wins, and don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. What are you waiting for? Go out there, find something that sparks your curiosity, and start learning. Who knows what amazing things you might achieve?
Couldn't agree more. Happy learning, everyone.